But if you do not, and you will not, then beware the fire whose fuel is people and stones, prepared for the disbelievers. Indeed, whoever commits misdeeds, and becomes besieged by his iniquities, these are the inmates of the fire, wherein they will dwell forever. And they said, our hearts are sealed. Rather, Allah has cursed them for their ingratitude. They have little faith. Those who reject our revelations, we will scorch them in a fire. Every time their skins are cooked, we will replace them with other skins, so they will experience the suffering. Allah is most powerful, most wise. The hypocrites will be in the lowest level of the fire, and you will find no helper for them. If only you could see, when they are made to stand before the fire, they will say, if only we could be sent back, and not reject the revelations of our Lord, and be among the faithful. He will say, join the crowds of jinn and humans who have gone into the fire before you. Every time a crowd enters, it will curse its sister crowd. Until, when they are all in it, the last of them will say to the first of them, our Lord, these are the ones who misled us, so inflict on them a double punishment in the fire. He will say, each will have a double, but you do not know. For them is a couch of hell, and above them are sheets of fire. Thus we repay the wrongdoers. And when their eyes are directed towards the inmates of the fire, they will say, our Lord, do not place us among the wrongdoing people. And the dwellers of the elevations will call to men they recognize by their features, saying, your hoardings did not avail you, nor did your arrogance. The inmates of the fire will call on the inhabitants of the garden, pour some water over us, or some of what Allah has provided for you. They will say, Allah has forbidden them for the disbelievers. That Allah may distinguish the bad from the good, and heap the bad on top of one another, and pile them together, and throw them in hell. These are the losers. If only you could see, as the angels take away those who disbelieve, striking their faces and their backs, taste the agony of the burning. O you who believe! Many of the rabbis and priests consume people's wealth illicitly, and hinder from Allah's path. Those who hoard gold and silver, and do not spend them in Allah's cause, inform them of a painful punishment. On the day when they will be heated in the fire of hell, then their foreheads, and their sides, and their backs will be branded with them. This is what you hoarded for yourselves, so taste what you used to hoard. Do they not know that whoever opposes Allah and His Messenger, will have the fire of hell, abiding in it forever? That is the supreme disgrace. As for those who are miserable, they will be in the fire. They will have therein sighing and wailing, remaining therein for as long as the heavens and the earth endure, except as your Lord wills. Your Lord is doer of whatever He wills. Except those on whom your Lord has mercy, for that reason He created them. The word of your Lord is final, I will fill hell with jinn and humans, all together. Beyond him lies hell, and he will be given to drink putrid water. He will guzzle it, but he will not swallow it. Death will come at him from every direction, but he will not die. And beyond this is relentless suffering. It has 7 doors, for each door is an assigned class. Whoever desires the fleeting life, we expedite for him what we decide to give him, to whomever we desire. Then we consign him to hell, where he will roast, condemned and defeated. Whomever Allah guides is the guided one. And whomever He leaves astray, for them you will find no protectors apart from Him. And we will gather them on the day of resurrection, on their faces, blind, dumb, and deaf. Their abode is hell. Whenever it abates, we intensify the blaze for them. And say, the truth is from your Lord. Whoever wills, let him believe. And whoever wills, let him disbelieve. We have prepared for the unjust a fire, whose curtains will hem them in. And when they cry for relief, they will be relieved with water like molten brass, which scalds the faces. What a miserable drink, and what a terrible place! There is not one of you but will go down to it. This has been an unavoidable decree of your Lord. Then we will rescue those who were devout, and leave the wrongdoers in it, on their knees. If those who disbelieve only knew, when they cannot keep the fire off their faces and off their backs, and they will not be helped. You and what you worship besides Allah are fuel for hell. You will descend into it. Had these been gods, they would not have descended into it. All will abide in it. In it they will wail. In it they will not hear. As for those who deserved goodness from us, these will be kept away from it. Here are two adversaries feuding regarding their Lord. As for those who disbelieve, garments of fire will be tailored for them, and scalding water will be poured over their heads, melting their insides and their skins. And they will have maces of iron. Whenever they try to escape the gloom, they will be driven back to it. Taste the suffering of burning. The fire lashes their faces, and therein they grimace. Were not my revelations recited to you, and you kept on rejecting them? They will say, Our Lord, our wretchedness prevailed over us, and we were a people astray. Our Lord, bring us out of this. If we ever returned, we would truly be evil. He will say, Be despised therein, and do not speak to me. In fact, they have denied the hour, and we have prepared for those who deny the hour a blaze. When it sees them from a distant place, they will hear it raging and roaring. And when they are thrown into it, into a tight place, shackled, they will plead for death. Those who are herded into hell on their faces, those are in a worse position, and further astray from the way. And the blaze will be displayed to the deviators. Then they will be toppled into it, together with the seducers and the soldiers of Satan, all of them. These will be given their reward twice, because they persevered, and they counter evil with good, and from our provisions to them, they give. And when they hear vain talk, they avoid it, and say, We have our deeds, and you have your deeds, peace be upon you, we do not desire the ignorant. But as for those who transgressed, their shelter is the fire. Every time they try to get out of it, they will be brought back into it, and it will be said to them, Taste the suffering of the fire which you used to deny. As for those who disbelieve, for them is the fire of hell, wherein they will never be finished off and die, nor will its punishment be lightened for them. Thus we will repay every ingrate. And they will scream therein, Our Lord, let us out, and we will act righteously, differently from the way we used to act. Did we not give you a life long enough, in which anyone who wanted to understand would have understood? And the warner did come to you. So taste. The evildoers will have no helper. We made it an ordeal for the unjust. It is a tree that grows from the bottom of hell. Its fruits are like the devil's heads. They will eat from it, and fill their bellies with it. Then, on top of it, they will have a brew of boiling liquid. Then their return will be to the blaze. Hell, in which they will roast, what a miserable abode. All this. Let them taste it, boiling and bitter cold. And similar torments of diverse kinds. This is a crowd rushing headlong with you. There is no welcome for them. They will be scorched by the fire. They will say, But it is you. There is no welcome for you. It is you who brought it upon us. What a miserable end. They will say, Our Lord, whoever brought this upon us, give him double torment in the fire. And they will say, What is it with us that we do not see man we used to count among the wicked? Did we take them for mockery, or have our eyes swerved from them? This is certainly true, the feuding of the people of the fire. I will fill hell with you, and with every one of them who follows you. they will have layers of fire above them, and layers beneath them. That is how Allah strikes fear into His servants, O my servants. Beware of me. As they quarrel in the fire, the weak will say to those who were arrogant, we were followers of yours, will you then spare us a portion of the fire? Those who were arrogant will say, we are all in it, Allah has judged between the servants. And those in the fire will say to the keepers of hell, call to your Lord to lessen our suffering for one day. They will say, did not your messengers come to you with clear signs? They will say, yes. They will say, then pray, but the prayers of the disbelievers will always be in vain. When the yokes are around their necks, and they will be dragged by the chains into the boiling water, then in the fire they will be consumed. Then it will be said to them, where are those you used to deify instead of Allah? They will say, they have abandoned us. In fact, we were praying to nothing before. Thus Allah sends the disbelievers astray. That is because you used to rejoice on earth in other than the truth, and because you used to behave with vanity. Enter the gates of hell, to remain therein forever. What a terrible dwelling for the arrogant. So be patient. The promise of Allah is true. Whether we show you some of what we have promised them, or take you to us they will be returned. We sent messengers before you. Some of them we told you about, and some we did not tell you about. No messenger can bring a miracle except by leave of Allah. Then, when the command of Allah is issued, fair judgment will be passed, and there and then the seekers of vanity will lose. The tree of bitterness. The food of the sinner. Like molten lead, boiling inside the bellies. Like the boiling of seething water. Seize him and drag him into the midst of hell. Then pour over his head the suffering of the inferno. On the day when we will say to hell, are you full? And it will say, are there any more? The day when they are shoved into the fire of hell forcefully. This is the fire which you used to deny. Burn in it. Whether you are patient, or impatient, it is the same for you. You are only being repaid for what you used to do. This is hell that the guilty denied. They circulate between it and between a seething bath. And those on the left, what of those on the left? Amid searing wind and boiling water. And a shadow of thick smoke. Neither cool, nor refreshing. Say, the first and the last. Will be eating from the tree of bitterness. Will be filling your bellies with it. Will be drinking on top of it boiling water. Drinking like thirsty camels drink. The ultimate end for both of them is the fire, where they will dwell forever. Such is the requital for the wrongdoers. O you who believe! Protect yourselves and your families from a fire, whose fuel is people and stones. Over it are angels, fierce and powerful. They never disobey Allah in anything He commands them, and they carry out whatever they are commanded. For those who reject their Lord, there is the torment of hell. What an evil destination! When they are thrown into it, they will hear it roaring, as it seethes. It almost bursts with fury. Every time a batch is thrown into it, its keepers will ask them, has no warner come to you? They will say, yes, a warner did come to us, but we disbelieved, and said, Allah did not send down anything, you are very much mistaken. And they will say, had we listened or reasoned, we would not have been among the inmates of the blaze. Take him and shackle him. Then scorch him in the blaze. Then in a chain which length is 70 cubits tie him up. So he has no friend here today. And no food except scum, which only the sinners eat. By no means. It is a raging fire. It strips away the scalps. It invites him who once turned his back and fled. until, when they see what they were promised, they will know who is weaker in helpers, and fewer in numbers. And food that chokes, and a painful punishment. Except for those on the right. In gardens, inquiring about the guilty. What drove you into Sakar? They will say, we were not of those who prayed. Nor did we feed the destitute. And we used to indulge with those who indulge. And we used to deny the day of judgment. Until the inevitable came upon us. But the intercession of intercessors will not help them. We have prepared for the faithless chains, and yokes, and a searing fire. Proceed to a shadow of 3 different masses. Offering no shade, and unavailing against the flames. It shoots sparks as castles. As if they were yellow camels. Hell is lying in ambush. For the oppressors, a destination. Where they will remain for eons. They will taste therein neither coolness, nor drink. Except boiling water, and freezing hail. When the fire is set ablaze. Precisely running their courses. He who will enter the gigantic fire. Where he will neither die, nor live. Roasting in a scorching fire. Given to drink from a flaming spring. They will have no food except thorns. That neither nourishes, nor satisfies hunger. I have warned you of a fierce blaze. None will burn in it except the very wicked. We will call the guards. By the racers panting. Igniting sparks. And what will make you realize what the crusher is? Allah's kindled fire. That laps to the hearts. It closes in on them. In extended columns,